Hello, hello. For this reflection, I'll be using some of the questions provided as again not a checklist, but just to stimulate some thoughts. Just to begin, as question number one says, briefly describe the situation in which you used for your recording. Um, at the beginning of the year, we were using Achieve 3000 as a tool for really closely monitoring, but also using it to take it into the classroom so that teachers could differentiate or guide their instruction based on the level of the students' reading comprehension. Um, so the situation in particular, that this one where I demonstrated the data or the measurement plan results, had a long line of planned out steps. Um, Again, at the beginning of the year, we set up a structure, we set up a protocol, we set up data, graphs, and by teacher, by student, with celebratory instances in between. But this particular situation, it was a support staff meeting that usually our support staff is comprised of our counselor, our RSP teacher, our SPED teacher, one or two general ed teachers, our principal definitely, myself as the instructional coach, our psychologist depending on her availability. But the different times that we meet, we focus on different aspects, whether it be social, emotional, etc., etc. In this case, it was instructional, specific to our instructional focus and use of Achieve 3000. Again, when we have met previously, and we pretty much planned out how we were going to carry Achieve 3000 out as a program that allowed for monitoring of students. However, a few months ago when I brought in the logic model, it was just a different jargon. It was very similar to what we were doing, except it formalized the process, which I think was excellent, and it provided teachers with new ways of describing it, such as what inputs are we allowing ourselves to integrate into our program, what are the outcomes as opposed to what are the outputs, and being very specific, and really had us thinking about, okay, where is our rigor? We want this output. This is what it's going to produce. It's going to produce a report. And it begets the questions of, okay, so what are we going to do with this report? What are we going to, how are we going to use it? And how is that going to influence, I as a teacher, for example, how is that going to influence my instruction? And, in my small groups, et cetera, et cetera. So it just formalized the process more than anything else. As far as the logic model, I feel it provides a highly structured manner of evaluating a program or practice, because now what we began to ponder is, at our school set, we're also considering a social emotional learning focus, in which the logic model seems to really work well, like with any program really, but it seems to be a basis for evaluating our efforts. And so this year we started piloting a few items, a few practices, a few areas of improvement for our social emotional learning. And those are really difficult to monitor because they involve the emotions, and it got us thinking. And so how are we going to measure that versus just doing restorative circles? Yeah, we did it. Okay. So how is that really impacting our student achievement, which is ultimately the measure by which, many of the schools in our system look at first. Some of the actions that were noteworthy, I think, as I was delivering some of the information, and as some of the teachers, when we were looking at the data, they had many aha moments. And one teacher in particular, our RSP teacher, said that it was mainly because there was coherence Before, I'm sure some teachers probably think the same way. They see the principal, myself, and other members of our support staff as just looking at certain things or implementing certain practices, et cetera, et cetera. But by doing this, and actually just the implementation of the logic model seemed to bring everything together, if that makes sense. And it provided a coherent way of looking at our efforts, as well as validating. More than anything else, I think for teachers is really important, the validation aspect of it, of what they've done. Choices that I made when I was doing this, I could have easily, when we were doing the measurement plan results, one of the things that I thought about was just presenting data from this year, and it's commendable data, but it's much more powerful when compared to last year, and so it also brings in some validation. Because of our focus on reading comprehension, or focus on annotation, or focus on providing our ELs with those specific scaffolding strategies, we did see significant growth. And I think that by comparing data from last year to this year, using Achieve 3000 as our tool, it really validated that their work and the indications of, just for example, let me go back. So just seeing a chart like this or a graph like this really tells that, wow, I've been working myself, to get these students to where they're at, and it's showing. And so it really provides that validation, as opposed to just having data from 1 year. I think that change, was a right choice, because it's all about the validation for this, for the teachers. In these questions, there's a question about what courses of action may have been possible. There's several ways to measure our success or measure our progress. We could have used the new curriculum's unit test. However, because in our district this ELA, ELD curriculum is fairly new, many teachers feel uncomfortable. They don't feel experts in implementing it. So, and what we saw actually in reality was some teachers were doing one unit, some teachers were doing another. There was that coherence wasn't there. However, they knew Achieve 3000, they knew the potential of it, they knew the procedure, the protocol, so it was easier to do. And lastly, it says that if I found myself in this role in the future, would I do the same thing? I think the structures would remain the same. The continuous monitoring, I'm a big proponent of just looking at data constantly and looking for those most insignificant trends or treads. I think that will not change. But one of the things, because of the aha moments for the teachers when they saw the coherence in the use of a logic model, in addition to the results, in addition to the plan from the beginning of the year, that consistent communication is key. So it has to be consistent. It has to be ongoing. And, because it also informs us as to what adjustments and modifications and changes need to be done, and it also increases their commitment once they see data like the one on the screen right now. It increases their commitment. It actually makes them believe that they can do it, and they can, but it has to be systematic and it has to be communicated consistently. And I think that would be it. Thank you so much.